All right, somebody sing, because last week our music blocked the whole thing. So take it away, Erika.
Oh, they'll everybody will hop off. It won't need to be blocked.
Yeah. So, all right, well, we're here. We should make mention that yesterday was a good time. The whatever GDP economic conversation we might have, I think was solved yesterday at the Rangers ballpark. We spent quite a bit of money and life was good. But all that being said, excited to do our Monday update. I actually felt really encouraged. I talked to a lot of people last night at the Ranger game that said, but we're not always on specifically when it's live, but we watch it later in the day and really appreciate the information. And it's very timely. So thank you for the feedback. It's always good to hear because we put a lot of effort and conversation into what we're going to deliver on Monday morning, right?
Yep.
Last week's big news was the inflation rate came in at 9.1, which I'm going to keep my comments out of it, but the government said that they were surprised. They expected it to go down. What does that mean? I think you're going to see a very aggressive and a very motivated government to just basically slow demand down as quickly as possible to pull inflation back in rate. Do you guys see it any other way?
No, I saw from the Fed's last meeting that they were saying expect 0.75 interest rate change, and last week I read expect a 1%.
They're going to get aggressive.
Yeah.
And here's the responsible part of this conversation. And remember, we promise not to fluff anything on this call. This is real talk. I think we've got about 18 months of economic resetting, where I think 2023 will be a reset year. And then I think 2024 will be a good year again. Not that 2023 is going to be a bad year. It's just going to be resetting. And we expect the government to continue to raise interest rates. Where is a highly debated topic. Up is not. Like, we understand they're going up. And I think if you plug in and seek wise counsel and listen to what we're talking about on this call, listen to what we go over in team meetings, we'll help you navigate all this and find your way to thrive. And it's also a prudent conversation to say, hey, Jim, lifestyle, personal, hey, let's be responsible over the next 18 months to make sure we're not putting ourselves at risk with overextending our lifestyle, right?
Absolutely.
I put a video on my story on Instagram and Facebook of Dave Ramsey and his comments. And I'll summarize because I'm sure I'll get blocked on that one too. But the comment was, should you buy a house now or wait? He said, absolutely, you buy now, and here's why. If you wait, the price of houses are going nowhere but up. Yeah. So if you wait 5 years to buy a house, you're going to end up paying 5 years worth of an appreciated price 5 years from now. And two, yeah, okay, you might be paying for an interest rate today, but that's a short-term pay because you're going to refinance it in the near future. Maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years. But, Dave Ramsey's all about not buying at your max of your debt to income ratio and all that stuff. So his conversations are, hey, if you buy wisely with margin in your life, and you understand that you're buying today for value tomorrow, and you understand that the interest rate you pay today is not the interest rate you're going to have forever, it's an absolute decision to buy today. And I thought that was a really important way to look at it.
Yeah.
What would y'all add?
I agree. He's been pretty vocal lately on that. There's been a couple things that I've seen him say around that. I think he was the one that coined the term date the rate, marry the house. So, I mean, he's absolutely right. He gave a few pointers that you should have, and there's still options if you're educated, even in the lending space.
Perfect. What would you add, Jim?
I think you're exactly right on the reset. All of it actually, but on the reset part, and a reset is not a bad thing. It's actually a really good thing, because if we went at the rate we were going, and you pay attention to what Gary says, really bad things would end up happening, right?
Yeah.
And so a good reset means we are setting ourselves up for many years to come.
Yeah. I heard a really smart guy give an analogy the other day. He said, you know, Yellowstone back about 10 years ago was this ginormous fire in Yellowstone. And what he said was, prior to this fire, they were really good at every time Yellowstone had a fire, they'd put the fire out. But what happened was there was this underbrush that kept building up and building up and building up that was never burned out. So all of a sudden, when the big fire came, all the underbrush fueled the fire to the point the firefighters could never put the fire out. Well, that actually was 2008 in our economy.
Yeah.
He said, so what you have to understand is sometimes a fire is good for a forest. It keeps it balanced and it keeps it healthy. And if you think of our economy like a forest, we need some little fires every now and then to keep our economy healthy. And we're just going to have a little fire here for a little bit. And he said, it's really healthy for our long-term economy to have a little bit of a reset. It can't just be gas pedal the whole way, right? Like we all understand that in health and fitness, you can't run 24 hours a day. Like you have to rest and recover, right? So it's a little bit of a rest and recovery in the economy. All that being said, I want to reiterate, like, it's not a point of fear. It's a point of understanding and navigation. And plug in will help you do that. All right, let's jump into some numbers. So Rockwall, option, I see that healthy. 51 pending, I see that pretty healthy. 44 sold. If you look at the 2-week average, last week we were saying it was because of the 4th of July holiday. And we're still a little low. So maybe we're starting to see the drop off on actual closings in Rockwall County. We'll continue to take a look at it. Not panic, just it's a little bit of a slowdown. You can kind of see it here in the graph with the green line being sold. We came back up, but we're still under what we were seeing from like May. So we're just kind of watching it, right? If you jump over to Dallas County, the largest county, it's a good place to benchmark. 1,242 active, 339 active option, healthy, 482 pending, 497 sold. Healthy number, right? If you look on their graph and you see where this green line is and you just kind of follow it back, we're not too far off right now. So I'm not necessarily seeing that fall down. Collin County, the other big county, 1,050 active, 228 active option, healthy, 274 pending, maybe a little low, but 341 closed, really healthy number, right? So, you know, we've got an article coming up that we're going to go through that's really saying Dallas, not yet, right? And I really kind of see it there. What do y'all see in the numbers?
Same.
Anything crazy? I looked at expireds, nothing crazy on expireds. Dallas County expireds, 20. That's pretty normal, maybe a little up, but not much. Rockwall expireds, 2.
Yeah.
Not a big change, right? If we jump over to the lake, Henderson County, 85 at inventory, good number, 10 active option, 27 pending, healthy number, 16 closing. So there's certainly a drop off we're seeing here in solds, just like we're seeing in Rockwall County. So it's something, not panic, not fear, something to keep our eyes on, right? And in conversation yesterday at the Ranger game, I need to remind everybody, you can get to this website yourself. You just go to the website, therealestatestats.com, and it'll take you here, and you find the county at the bottom, and we track all this every week. So yes, you have to tune in and listen to us talk about it, but you can also get there yourself.
Yeah.
Anything else on the numbers, guys?
No.
All right. So Dallas Morning News said, here's how short Texas was on homes even before the pandemic. And I think this is an important part of understanding our real estate market. And the reason being is there's been pent up demand in our real estate market way before the pandemic ever created it. Like, we didn't have the inventory that was abundant, I'll use, going into the pandemic. And then it got really scarce during the pandemic. And I think we used to use, Jim, what was the term? We got an acute seller's market, right? We called it acute, but it was a seller's market before, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Texas has the second most severe housing deficit in the nation. What do y'all make of that?
Yeah, 2016 or 2018, we ran into 2 months of inventory on the market. It wasn't anything. I think where we really started looking at it was once we dipped below that 2 and got below 1 month of inventory on the market. That's where things got it kind of out of whack. But I agree for the most part of what they're saying about where we are before the pandemic. I think where we kind of missed the mark is how the Metroplex is growing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at when AT&T moved into Dallas, and then you had State Farm, and then you just had a myriad of headquarters that were coming in, and even more that are coming in. I think that's added more fuel to the fire than anything else.
Okay.
I think it's going to be interesting just with other articles that I'm reading. People aren't slowing down their spending. So even though issue, we still are under 2 months of inventory regardless of the interest rates.
Yeah.
I think we're feeling it more just because there was nothing. I mean, you go from having 2 houses to choose from to 6, and you think, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So I just think we're slowly getting back into reality of what it was pre-pandemic.
Yeah, I think it's 2 opposing forces, right?
Yeah.
Like the terminology is the Fed's going to try to crush demand to pull inflation down and balance us out. And they'll do a good job of slowing demand down. Like, there will be people scared to buy houses with double-digit interest rates, right? Like they'll not be as motivated to do that. And then you take this pent-up demand that we've been experiencing for years, and where do we land in the middle of those 2 conversations? I mean, I know tons of first-time home buyers that just haven't gotten into a property. And where do they lie in this? Are they scared to pay 8% interest? Are they scared to buy? You know, I think the bigger conversation is what people think they can afford versus what they're really going to be able to afford.
Yeah.
And how do we coach and counsel with that? Meaning, the person that was looking at $350,000 houses a year ago might need to be looking at $300,000 houses today, right? to stay in that affordability. But yeah, you're still getting your first home. You're still getting an opportunity to own a piece of real estate that creates wealth. But that's where the coaching and counsel comes in, right?
Right.
Perfect. The next article, the window popped up. Erika, tell me about this one. You said turning point housing market is eroding quickly as buyers look for better deals.
Well, it's just clickbait. It's so funny to me that both of these articles are on the same website with Dallas Morning News. You've got one saying everything's fine, and then you click on this that the sky is falling. It's just going back to what we're saying. We still have a supply and demand issue, and there is an illusion of more properties on the market than there. It's not really an illusion, there are, but it's still not an influx of properties available for buyers. So it has slowed a little, but it's not this drastic or shattering slowdown that some of these articles are alluding to in the title.
For sure.
I mean, we're still very much in a seller's market.
I don't know.
Well, according to inventory, if you go back and you use that data, but there's definitely, in my opinion, there's a lot of fear and uncertainty. So it causes people to make decisions that they wouldn't normally make.
Yeah, if I can add on to that, I kind of agree where you were thinking, Brett, as far as the seller's market. It's weird that we're under 2 months of inventory of homes on the market. But what's happened, and I think we're in kind of I don't know that you call it a buyer's market, but it's a short-term buyer's market, let's say. Mm-hmm. If we continue at the rate that we're at right now, and we're adding homes onto the market, if you look back in the history, kind of year over year numbers, how many homes were added into the market, going from the 0.7 or 0.6 to where I think we may end up at around like 2.3, 2.5, we're essentially adding in 2 years worth of inventory into 1 year. And I think because of that, you have this kind of short-term buyer's market because you had so much come on.
That's true.
And you still only have so much demand out there.
Well, and I think you have expectations of sellers that are going to create a little bit of a panic, and there's buyers that want to capitalize on that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
They're like, what do you mean my house didn't show the last 3 days?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I was expecting 60 people through here. But I'm sitting here thinking the same thing, going, hey, if I was going to invest, I'm probably going to find a deal over the next 18 months, right? Like, that's in my brain.
Yeah.
And I bet you I'll find a deal. And I don't think I'm alone in that thinking. And I also think there's sellers that are nervous that they actually believe prices are going to go backwards. So they're trying to sell quickly. And they're nervous. So they may actually come off that price a little bit just to try to capitalize on getting it sold before they think the world's going to fall apart or whatever, which it's not. So very interesting.
Yeah,
right?
I just think
It's an
there's going to be a
interesting
lot
dichotomy culture right now in our in our world.
People are just going to be capitalizing on the uncertainty.
Yeah, but then you find this article that says Dallas real estate market isn't cooling just yet. You know, you got me on a boomerang here. I mean, and they're not wrong. Like, if we go back and look at these numbers, it hadn't really cooled. Now I'm slowly starting to maybe see something, but remember, most of these articles are written in a month in arrears, and they're quoting May data right now. Right?
Yeah. May to May. Yeah. 21 to 22. Yeah.
We are not, 30 days is a big time difference right now in our world.
Yes. Yeah.
Just think of what the interest rates were 30 days ago compared to today. Like at least a point, probably. Maybe a half, but anyway, it's interesting. Okay, So what do we need to be thinking about? What do we need to be prepared with?
Need to be thinking about the fall, right? So if we're thinking about the fall, we need to be building the pipeline for now. I mean, we need to be building a pipeline now for the fall. I mean, that means staying in close touch with your sphere of influence,
Right.
and really being diligent about the leads that you've been generating, because I know this is probably just a resounding thing that you hear from agents, because I hear it from them all the time of, yeah, I've got all these leads I just haven't contacted, or I haven't contacted them in forever. Get a smart plan on them. Be diligent about contacting them right now. I mean, just put the gas all the way to the floor, because there are going to be people out there that are buying, and why not have that share of them? And you've got them in your lead database, so why not contact them and really be diligent about what you're doing?
It's good. It's good. I'm looking for the hungry. Like, a lot of people go on vacation in July, right? I think there's a window of time here where we need to be hungry and build in that pipeline.
Times that nothing gets you out of fear faster than action. So I agree with that. And also you didn't show it, which is, I mean, it's okay. But no, there was an article just talking about it was pretty good. It was on Inman, and sometimes Inman can be interesting, but it was talking about surrounding yourself with people that are a positive influence, that are getting into action, that are staying positive in reality, but also positive about where we're going. And I think that's more important than ever. So it even brought up, if you're going through divorce, you're not going to want to hang, or your marriage is struggling, you're not going to want to hang around people with struggling marriages. You want to hang around people that are thriving. So I think it's more important than ever to lean into everything that we're providing, asking questions of agents that have been through this before, showing up for things. I just think it's super important. That was one thing the major thing I took around from this article was who you surround yourself with matters. And so, yes, doing the activities and things like that, but also the mindset that you need to be in as you're doing those activities is going to be super important.
Perfect. I agree. I think that's, I think plugging into this call and hearing us talk about it and just getting your head wrapped around things, because one of the things that I know is that number one is that people want to deny a change is happening. Our commitment on the Monday call is zero fluff. Like, we are going to be real on this call. And for fear that we might put fear into somebody, and that's not our intention. But if you hear us clearly, we're telling you how to navigate and thrive, not just trying to throw fear out there, but you have to always understand the market and where it's going. And if it's going up, what does that mean? If it's going down, what does that mean? And how do you create a strategy for that? Sure. And I think that's important. And then obviously ego's going to kill a lot of businesses. We can leave that one there. All right. Influence around you. You're right. Showing up to this call, talking to top producers, making sure we're having the right conversations around how to thrive, not complaining about what's not happening. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you'll hear it. And then, of course, in times of change, there's a flight to safety. Safety to me is, I use the analogy of a duck on a pond. The duck is calm, cool, collected on the surface. And it's like, I'm poised, I got this. And underneath the water, the legs are going like this, like, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. And that's what you need to look like. Calm, cool, collected, poised, running and as fast as you can, being hungry as much as you can, doing as much action as you can beneath the surface, but out there in the world and on social media, and you are calm, cool, collected. And that's just kind of the analogy. And then the fifth thing on here was players are separated from pretenders. I will tell you, there is going to be a separation between professionals and amateurs in the near future. And professional doesn't mean you sell a $50 million worth of year in real estate. Professional means how you carry yourself and how you present yourself and how you respond to adversity, and how it's more about who you are in the journey, not the results. And I can tell you, there'll be an agent that's brand new that is professional, and there'll be a seasoned agent that's amateur.
Yep.
Because of the way they think and the way they're moving through what's coming. Make sense?
Yep, 100%.
They go, hey, he stole my quote. See that quote? Only when the tide goes out do you find out who's skinny dipping. I've said that before, and I couldn't remember who said it. I guess Warren Buffett said it. Now I know. All right, guys, what else? I think it's a busy week. Look forward to lots of conversations. Ranger game was awesome, minus the loss. And see you next week.
All right, thanks, Brett.